If you're traveling to Togo with a drone, you must watch this because this nearly ruined my entire trip. I am Damilari. For those who don't know me, I'm a travel creator and a filmmaker. If you're new to my YouTube channel, kindly click on the subscribe button and make sure you watch this video to the end. In this video, I'm going to be sharing with you my crazy experience at the Togo border and how my drone got seized by the Togo police. As well, I'm going to be sharing with you some tips and advice on how to go about with your drone. I was traveling to Burkina Faso by road for a week project, and I was going to cross the Lagos Benin border, which is the semi border, and as well the Benin Togo border, which is the Lankoji border, before I go up north of Togo to cross into Burkina Faso. And basically my trip was supposed to be less than 24 hours from Lagos to Benin, 24 hours or so, yeah, and I had my camera stuff, my gadgets and drone in my bag. And to be honest, I never knew in the last 12 months a lot of things has changed, and I never knew Togo had a new rule because from my last research on drone law, you can bring your drone into Togo and you can use your drone in Togo as long as it is a drone that doesn't need a permit, like the Mini 3, Mini 4 and the lesser one. Your drone don't need a permit to be used in those countries. So I was surprised that a lot of things has changed in Togo. But is that the case in my own situation? I think mine is totally different. So I left for Benin on Sunday, which I was supposed to get to Burkina Faso on Monday. So, but what happened at the Togo immigration really frustrated me, I will say. But at the same time, I learned a lot of lessons from the whole situation. I had my drone on me, and I wasn't using the drone. It was just inside my bag, and I had stamped my passport to just walk into the country at the border. So basically, I've done all of the documentation. I was clear to go in. Then I was stopped by police at just the entrance into the country, and they were too. I was searched thoroughly. You were gonna think I was a criminal with the way I was searched, and they saw all of my gadgets. Then they started bringing them out one at a time. Then my drone was set aside and I was being questioned at the same entrance, like what work was I doing, where was I traveling to. Although they speak French and I speak English and I understand just a little bit of French, but with the illustration of how the guy was asking the question, I was able to get that this the question he was asking, and I tried to explain as much as I can to him. Then he gave me his phone that I should put my YouTube name on it, which I did, and he saw my videos basically. So he knew who I was and what I was going to do at where I was traveling to. But he insisted that he was going to call someone that I should just sit down. I sat down for about 30 minutes. Then I started making some call. Then all of a sudden, I saw another police came with a bike. And it was like I have to go with the police guy with my drone. That I shouldn't worry. That he was only doing his job, not knowing what was coming behind all of that. So I followed the bike guy. They took me back to the main office, where I had stamped, and they took me up for interrogation. I was up in that building and I was like, a lot of thoughts was going through my head. I was like, what's going on? This is just an armless drone. It's not like I was a terrorist or I was a criminal. I just had a military drone with me, and I was taking it to Burkina Faso. It wasn't even like I wanted to use it in Togo. No, I didn't plan to use the drone in Togo. I was taking it to Burkina Faso. So at the building, their boss came in. The other police officer saluted him. I knew, oh, this was gonna be their boss. Okay, fine, I can talk to him. So to my expectation, I was thinking the boss was gonna be able to speak a little bit of English. Especially when it comes to like international stuff like this, you should be able to like got people who can speak English around. And the boss was like, what is the problem? I got to understand that he was asking what is the problem. I tried to explain, but he didn't add any of what I said. So he was like, oh, if I can't speak French, there's nothing he can do, and I will just be here. I was like, I can't speak French, but I'm trying. It was like, well, there's nothing he can do. Then all of a sudden he started looking around and asked if I speak Hausa. I was like, Hausa? No, I don't speak Hausa. Then he said, can you speak Yoruba? I said, yes, I can speak Yoruba. Then he called someone who could speak Yoruba around, and the person came. Got so good, we were able to communicate. The person was the one translating for me. So in between, I was asked a lot of questions like, where was I going to? I told the boss I was going to Burkina Faso. They asked me, what am I going to Burkina Faso to do? I told them, and I was like, okay, I can call my friend for proof if you guys feel like I wasn't going to Burkina Faso. I was interrogated like a criminal. I was asked if I've ever been to the police station before, which I said no. They asked if I've ever been arrested before. I said no, of course. Why would I be arrested? I've never been arrested in my life before. I was asked all sort of questions. Then what baffled me the most was some corny question like, was the drone on my neck when I was trying to cross? Did I plan to video anything in the country? And I was also asked if I was going to use the drone at one point in the country. I told them no, that I was just taking this drone. I was asked if the drone was found in my hand when I wanted to call. I told them no, this thing was literally in my bag. I was searched before they found this thing. Then all of a sudden it was like, where's the license for the drone? I said, this is a mini drone. It doesn't need a license. This isn't my first time traveling with this drone. I've traveled with this drone to a lot of countries, so this is not the first time. And the man started he started asking a lot of stuff, and he was writing down. I thought he was talking to someone higher. Sorry. I thought he was talking to someone higher, and I still don't know what was going on, but a lot was just going through my head, like, will this drone be released? I was like, but norms, this is just a mini drone. It is used for recreational purpose. It's not harmful. Then I just heard that this guy said that, do I know that this is a military drone? I was like, a military drone? Are they kidding me? At that point I was very angry, but I just had to like control my emotions, but it was written all over my face, because as far as I was trying to like, digest what I was told, that this military drone, how did we get here? And I was asked a lot of questions, then at some point I started feeling uncomfortable when this man told me that how much do I bought the drone. I explained to him, I told him, it was like I should convert the money to CFA. Like a lot of things going on. At this point, I don't know what to do. But I was like, well, whatever the outcome of this interrogation was not gonna be, I'm here for you guys. So I was delayed for over 5 hours being interrogated. It's crazy. And I was like, well, at the end of the day, you guys will give me my drone. It's either you give me my drone or you hold it, then when I'm leaving, you return my property back to me, then I take it back home. But no, that wasn't the case. So it was a very tough questioning. Then the funny part is they told me that how did they operate the drone. I was asked that, so I showed them how to turn on the drone, how to turn it off. The boss carried the drone. It was like, nice. I never knew they were having some thought about the drone. Me thinking maybe my drone was gonna be released to me, So at the end of the interview, interrogation interview. Yeah. At the end of it, the guy who translated to me was very honest because he tried to like explain to them in details what I do because I showed them video as well of what I do. So they saw basically saw evidence, so they knew who I was, but I don't know. I don't know. Maybe they feel like there's nothing I can do if they sees the drone, or they feel like I'm never gonna make this video. Who knows? You know. Yeah. So that was how the drone was seized that night. Cause the guy told me that I should. They said I should come back the next day with the documents. Which I then later he told me that whenever they seize drone here, they don't give the owners back. And I was like, but it was like, even if I come back the next day, they won't give me the drone. I was like, but you just told me now that they said I should come back the next day when their boss is around. That he already sent the details to the boss at the top. I was like, okay. I had to spend a night. No, before then I reached out to some of my friends in Benin, and my friend called gets me someone who can speak English, and small English and French, And the guy came to meet me. He actually told me the guy works at the border too. So that one came with a bike that same night because it was already after 6 already, it's late. So basically I can't even continue my trip to Burkina. So he came to meet me at the border. We went to the officer, blah blah blah. They spoke. Then what the guy told me was that I was told to come back the next day. That was the new guy that came to meet me when I called my friend. I was told to come back the next day, that they've sent the whole information to the boss. Like, fine, okay, I'll have to pass the night in Togo. That was how I spent an extra night in Togo. Then the next day, which is on Monday morning, I would have been in Burkina Faso by then. Even if I haven't gotten to Ouagadougou there, I know I was gonna be in Burkina Faso inside the country as at that time. So I was waiting to be called by my friend, and I waited until 10 a.m. in the morning. I was like, where's this guy? I'm still traveling far. It's not like I've gotten to my destination. I didn't see him. And I was like, when it was around 12, he came to meet me at where I passed the night. And it was like, he was just coming from the border, and they were saying the bus hasn't arrived yet. I was like, at 12 p.m. you're saying the bus hasn't arrived. At this point I don't know what to do. So then he went and came back again and told me that they said they didn't told me to come back the next day. And then at this point I was a bit confused because I don't know what to do again. Then he used his bike to take me to the border. Well, we ride to the border, but we didn't get to the border. We stopped at the road, and he called one of his brother again. I think that one was a soldier or police. I don't know as well. But that was like, they will get the drone for me. I shouldn't worry. He asked for the picture of the drone, which I sent to him. I gave him a check, and me feeling hopeful that my drone will be back soon. Now I was feeling very hopeful, right? For real. Then not until the guy took me back to where I passed the night, and it was like I should go and wait that he's gonna come back. Then I waited for another 4 hours. It was already getting to like to 5. I was like, no, I couldn't wait again. Because if I should spend another night in Togo, I will have to like cancel my trip to Burkina. So like I couldn't even resist. I just had to leave to Lomé because I was at the border before. So I left. And this guy still didn't call me until 8 p.m. when I already left the country, when I was on my route to Burkina. I saw his message. It was like, I was like, imagine. So that was how I just left him. I was like, well, then I started reaching out to, I made a post on my Instagram and a lot of people started reaching out to me. But before I continue with this video, shout out to Ninja Explorer, Ice the Swimmer. These guys really turn up for me, and to everyone who turned up for me and people who grieved with me. Yeah, thank you so much. It was a tough one, leaving my drone behind. I know how much the drone was, and I knew how it could be getting a drone, especially if you're in Africa. It's like an investment, and all of a sudden your drone just, so shout out to those guys. They really tried for me. Ninja Explorer, thank you so much. I left the drone behind, thinking if I was coming back to Nigeria, I would just get the drone document and get my drone back at the border. So while I was on the trip, I got to Burkina Faso. I did all of what I wanted to do there. Even though I was unable to use the drone at Burkina, I used my other camera and stuff. I got my stuff done, and then it was Sunday to return back to Nigeria, my country. Feeling hopeful that I'll get my drone, because Nigeria Explorer reached out to some of his people, and those guys really turned up for me. Then in the process, I was told to like get the drone documents ready, which I printed. I got everything ready. Let me show you guys. I got the drone documents ready, the invoice, everything, the GI, then so the price. I got the document needed to, like, even if you guys are saying, I'm a terrorist, this drone doesn't belong to me, or if they were feeling like I stole the drone, there was evidence to back it up. I got documents to back it up that this actually belongs to me. The only thing is the drone doesn't have a license, and it is a mini drone, and a mini drone doesn't need a license, unless you have bigger drone or you are a professional drone operators. When I say professional drone operators, I'm not saying professional drone operators can use mini drone, but professional drone operators do have their own personal license. But I don't need a personal license because I don't fly drone all of the time. I only use my drone for recreational purpose and for hobby, just randomly, not all the time. Yeah. So Ninja Explorer told me to get my documents ready. I was like, we're gonna get someone that can speak English and French fluently, and he was on the call back to back. Ice too was, Ice, thank you so much. She did a lot of reaching out to Brian's complaint, reach out to Togo, to complain. A lot of them were saying there's nothing they can do. Wakanda also, they said there's nothing they can do. We tried our best, hoping that we might be able to retrieve this drone, because, I feel sad that I, as an Africa, will be facing such a challenge in my own continent. It's crazy. I promote Africa, and I do this with my heart, with my resources, and now I have to experience Africa. So sad, but it is what it is. So the story. So when I was returning back to Nigeria, I had to stop by at the Togo border to request for my drone. As then they've gotten me some people that can help me talk to them at the border, and the documents were ready, and I got back to the Togo immigration office. I was told that my drone wasn't documented. Like, how does that even sound? My drone wasn't documented. As at that time, my brain just sparked up, because I got to realize that someone already sit on it. Someone wanted to steal the drone. So basically, they stole my drone. Because why would you collect someone's property and you won't document it, from another citizen, someone who is not from your country? You collected a tourist property and you're telling me you didn't document my stuff. Like, how does it even sound? So at that point, I was like, we spoke. The guy spoke to them, and the next thing I was doing was jail. the guys that were sent to me they were telling me that they said, do we want to go to jail? And I was like, why would I go to jail in another smart line? Because of my drone, my property gets collected illegally, you know. Then that was how this drone, like, because I needed to be in Lagos so bad because I got the engagements in Lagos. And so there wasn't anything I could do. There wasn't anything I could do. I was so pained, I was pissed, but there wasn't anything I could do. Then I had to reach out to Nigeria Explorer again, and it was like, we'll have to take this higher because it looked like, this won't be solved anytime soon. So that was why I was sad. I was frustrated, I was angry, but I never let it get to me because I can be a very optimistic person. I always love positive vibe, and I didn't let that get to me because if I had let that get to me, I'm gonna be so pissed, so pain. But I still felt it. I really don't want to talk much about how I felt about my drone being seized because I knew how much it took me to get that drone. And now I have to start looking forward to get a new drone. But to be honest with you, right, this is a mini drone. I shouldn't have problem traveling with this small drone. And the way I was labeled a terrorist really shocked me. But yeah, before I end this video, let me just share with you some tips and advice on how to go along with your drone whenever you're traveling to countries in Africa or Togo again. So your case won't be like my because I feel like those officers love my drone and they just want to keep it as theirs. So they don't want to return it, and I'm not sure they are taking it to their office. So I feel like they just want to start making use of my own drone for their own personal use or personal purpose. Yeah, but God judge them accordingly. Yeah, so these are some advice and tips I had written down to help you guys. One, the first advice is always research drone laws. The drone law I do check was for 2019. And then I still had to do more research after my drone was being seized. Then I got to realize that lately the drone law has been changed for Togo, that drones are not permitted because of insecurity reasons and because of terrorists are the northern part of the country. So they said they don't allow drone in the country anymore because a lot of complaints that reached out to me about my drone in Togo were saying that drones are not permitted in their country anymore. So I think that's totally understandable. Yeah, the second advice is contact aviation authorities ahead. Yeah, so it is good to always reach out to aviation office authorities ahead so they can always guide you if they were going to give you a permit before you can use your drone in their country. Yeah, but it's always good to contact them. Then the third one is always carry printed permits. I wish I had a permit with me before I embark on this trip, or even if it was my document, but I didn't have any of them with me. But I had them on my file. I had to quickly download them but now before coming back, so I can always have something to show. But it's always good to carry printed permit or documents if you have yours. And 4, declare your drone. I think that was what I wanted to do. I wanted to declare my drone at because normally there's a way I can hide my drone in my bag that they won't even see it. Wish I would have even done that. But but it's always good to declare if you have one also, so that at the end of the day it can always you don't always have issue. Yeah, and the 5th one is avoid hiding your drone. What I tried to do, I wanted to hide mine, though it's always good to declare. So but at the same time, if I had hide it and it was fine, it might have been under, maybe I would have been in jail now, who knows. Yeah, and the last one is to budget for permit. If I had been told that I should go get a permit, I would have done that and I would have been out of this shit. But I wasn't told to get a permit. But sometimes it's always good because you might be lucky and you might be told to just go to the aviation office to get a permit, and it might cost you some cash. Yeah, so yeah, this is my experience, and I hope my story help you avoid my own situation, because yeah, my story really touched me and I hope this story touched you too. Yeah, so this is my story, and yeah, drones are not permitted in Togo, Yeah, so when you're traveling to Togo, always make sure you do research before you travel with a drone. Click it. All right, thank you for watching this video, and I hope you're enjoying this video. You'll be seeing more of this, so stay glued with me and don't forget to click on the subscribe button. Bye. Peace.